It was nestled 80 to 90 meters underground inside a granite mountain. An untouchable nuclear fortress that America would never be able to reach, and, even if it tried, would never be able to destroy. Iran was confident, overconfident, in fact. The untouchable facility was indeed found, and once it was, America did what it does best: obliterated it. With the fortress cracked open, Iran has been left asking itself how the United States pulled off the attack when no weapon was ever supposed to be able to reach that deep underground. Something that Iran's regime thought could never exist just hit Tehran hard. Once again, Iran has been proven catastrophically wrong. We head to Fordow, officially known as the Shahid Ali Mohammadi Nuclear Facility, located 30 kilometers north of the Iranian city of Qom. Hidden inside a granite mountain that Iran specifically chose for its protection, buried so deep underground that for years the world's most powerful conventional bombs couldn't touch it. Protected by Russian-built S-300 surface-to-air missile systems, defended by the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, and kept secret from the entire world for 3 years after construction began. There is a very good reason why Iran built Fordow the way it did. And there is a very good reason why, for decades, Tehran genuinely believed that nothing America or Israel had could destroy it. Fordow's construction began in 2006, not at the surface, not near populated areas, but inside a mountain, specifically designed from the very first shovel of earth to survive a military strike. Iran had watched what happened to Iraq's nuclear program at Osirak in 1981 when Israel bombed it. It had watched what happened at Syria's nuclear reactor in 2007. It drew its own conclusions. If you want your nuclear program to survive, you go underground, deep underground, inside rock so hard and so thick that conventional bombs simply cannot get through. When the facility was secretly revealed to the world in 2009, exposed by US, UK, and French intelligence, the world got its first real look at just how serious Iran was about protecting its nuclear program. Fordow wasn't just a backup facility. It was Iran's crown jewel, the one site that Iran's leaders genuinely believed could continue operating even after every other nuclear facility in the country had been destroyed. And Iran had reason to feel confident. The centrifuges at Fordow were spinning enriched uranium to 60% purity. At that level of enrichment, Iran could theoretically produce enough weapon-grade uranium for one nuclear weapon in as little as 5 to 6 days. Iran had already removed all international surveillance equipment from the site in 2022. By 2024, it had installed its most advanced IR-6 centrifuges there. Fordow was, in every meaningful sense, Iran's nuclear weapons breakout capability, buried inside a mountain and spinning around the clock. In 2012, the US Department of Defense publicly concluded that its existing bunker-busting bombs were not capable of destroying certain facilities in Iran. That was essentially official confirmation of what Iran already suspected. America's best conventional bombs at the time could penetrate reinforced concrete. But Fordow wasn't just reinforced concrete. It was a mountain. And mountains don't care about 5,000-pound bombs. Iran looked at those numbers, looked at its mountain, and kept enriching. Iran's confidence went beyond the mountain itself. Tehran had spent years studying American strike capabilities and concluded that even if Washington wanted to hit Fordow, it would never pull the trigger unless absolutely certain of success. And for years, that certainty did not exist. What Iran failed to notice was that the United States had not accepted this reality. America had been working on a solution to Fordow for over 2 decades. Quietly, methodically, and with a level of engineering ambition that Iran never believed was achievable. That solution was the GBU-57A/B Massive Ordnance Penetrator, and it is the most extraordinary conventional weapon ever built. But here is where Iran's fatal miscalculation becomes clear. The GBU-57 is so large and so specialized that only one aircraft on Earth is capable of carrying it into combat. And that aircraft is the B-2 Spirit stealth bomber. Iran's air defense network is one of the most sophisticated outside of NATO. Russian-built S-300 missile batteries, layered radar networks, interceptor jets on standby. Iran had spent billions of dollars over decades building a system specifically designed to make American airstrikes catastrophically expensive. What Iran never fully reckoned with was the B-2 Spirit. The B-2 is the most advanced and expensive aircraft ever built. Designed by Northrop Grumman, it was engineered from the ground up to be invisible. Not merely hard to detect, but invisible. Its flying wing design has no tail, no vertical surfaces, and almost no right angles. Its skin is coated in radar-absorbent materials. Its engines are buried inside the wing, masking heat signatures from infrared sensors. The result is an aircraft with a radar cross-section roughly equivalent to that of a small bird, one that can fly at 50,000 feet over the most heavily defended country in the Middle East and not trigger a single alarm. Only 21 B-2s were ever built. One was lost in a crash in 2008. The 19 remaining are all based at Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri. Each one cost an average of $2.13 billion. Each flight hour costs approximately $150,000 to operate. The United States built the most expensive bomber in history and equipped it with the most powerful conventional bomb in history, specifically to solve the problem of Iran's underground nuclear program. Tehran's mountain was not as safe as Iran believed. Iran tried to counter the B-2 threat by purchasing more radar systems and dispersing its air defense networks. What it could not do was build an aircraft with the same combination of stealth, range, and payload capacity as the B-2. No country outside of the United States has that capability. Iran's air defense network was defending against an aircraft it could not see, carrying a bomb it had no counter for. When Operation Midnight Hammer was launched on June 22, 2025, Iran's air defense network failed completely. Not partially, completely. 7 B-2 Spirit bombers flew 18 hours non-stop from Whiteman Air Force Base, a 37-hour round trip that General Dan Kane called the second longest bombing mission in U.S. history. They were supported by more than 125 aircraft, including fighters, tankers, and surveillance assets, along with a guided missile submarine. And yet, Iran's air defenses did not fire a single shot. Its radar networks detected nothing. The first indication that anything was happening was when the bombs were already falling. 12 GBU-57 Massive Ordnance Penetrators hit Fordow. 2 more hit Natanz. Over 24 Tomahawk cruise missiles, launched from the submarine, simultaneously tore apart the surface infrastructure at Isfahan. The entire operation across 3 heavily defended nuclear sites was over in 25 minutes. General Kane called it the largest B-2 operational strike in U.S. history. Trump declared Fordow was gone. The IAEA's director, Rafael Grossi, subsequently confirmed that almost all sensitive equipment at the Fordow site had been destroyed. Iran's untouchable mountain fortress had been cracked open like an egg. The weapon Iran said could never reach it had reached it. The aircraft Iran's defenses were built to stop had flown over them without being seen. And now, the story gets even more significant. Because this was not the end. It was the beginning. A preliminary Defense Intelligence Agency assessment concluded with low confidence that the strikes may not have fully destroyed Fordow's core centrifuge infrastructure, suggesting Iran may have evacuated critical equipment before the bombs fell. Satellite imagery showed trucks loading up outside Fordow's tunnel entrances in the days before the attack. Nobody knows where that material went. Iran's own foreign minister said in a CBS interview that no one exactly knows what transpired at Fordow. Iran's response has been deeply revealing. Rather than accepting the damage done, Tehran has accelerated construction at the Pickaxe Mountain facilities south of Natanz, now being dug to an estimated depth of 260 to 330 feet underground. That is more than 3 times deeper than Fordow. The mountain above it is nearly 650 meters taller. At least 4 tunnel entrances have been constructed, compared to Fordow's 2. Iran is not rebuilding what America destroyed. It is trying to build something America cannot reach. And here is the bitter irony of Iran's position. The very fact that it is building deeper, building harder, and building faster is itself an admission that Operation Midnight Hammer worked. Iran is not rebuilding Fordow because it believes Fordow was undamaged. It is building something new because it knows that what it had before is gone. Every truckload of concrete poured into Pickaxe Mountain is Tehran's acknowledgement that the weapon Iran said could never exist not only exists, it worked. But here is why Iran's bet is already failing. The GBU-57 program has not stood still. The Air Force has been continuously upgrading the MOP through a series of enhanced threat response programs, improving penetration depth, fuse technology, and explosive payload with each new variant. Testing has been conducted specifically against the kind of deeper, harder targets that Iran is now building. And beyond the B-2, the next-generation B-21 Raider stealth bomber, currently entering service, is also being configured to carry the GBU-57. America is building a better bomb, a better aircraft to carry it, and more delivery options than Iran can possibly plan for. There is also a wider significance to what Operation Midnight Hammer proved. In a strike against sites protected by Russian-made S-300 systems, among the most advanced air defenses in the world, the B-2 completed its mission without drawing a single shot. That performance has impressed Trump, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, and senior Air Force leaders to the point where there is now serious discussion about producing additional B-2s alongside the incoming B-21 Raider fleet. China is watching. Russia is watching. North Korea is watching. Every adversary that has buried its most valuable assets deep underground, believing that depth alone could protect them, is now looking at what happened to Fordow and asking the same question Iran is asking. How deep is deep enough? The uncomfortable answer, for all of them, is that America is already working on the weapon that answers that question too. Iran built Fordow to be the last line of protection for its nuclear ambitions. It spent nearly 2 decades enriching uranium inside that mountain. It removed international inspectors. It installed its most advanced centrifuges. It surrounded it with the best air defenses Russian money could buy. And when the moment finally came, none of it mattered. The B-2 flew over the defenses without being seen. The GBU-57 reached through the mountain without stopping. And Fordow, the untouchable fortress that Iran bet everything on, was destroyed in less than 30 minutes. Something that Iran thought could never exist had existed for years. America just waited for the right moment to use it. Find out what happens next in Iran's nuclear gamble by watching our next video. And if this breakdown gave you the full picture you weren't getting anywhere else, subscribe to Beyond Update, because this is exactly what we do.